In 2024, researchers at the University of Sheffield tested a paste that costs 15 cents per application against every major commercial oven cleaner on the market. It matched them. 92% grease removal. The active ingredient was baking soda. Let that sit for a second. You are currently paying $5 to $7 per can for a product whose own label says it will burn your eyes and skin. The replacement costs less than a third of a dollar. It is sitting in your baking aisle right now, and the United States Food and Drug Administration classifies it as generally recognized as safe enough to eat. By the end of this video, you will have the exact method, the exact timing, and the science behind why it works, and you will understand why no company selling oven cleaner will ever tell you about it. But before we get to the method itself, let us talk about what replaced it and what that replacement actually does to people. Welcome to the channel. If you are new here, this is what we do. We recover practical knowledge that market economics buried. Not conspiracy theories, not paranoia, just methods that work, that cost almost nothing, and that no corporation has any financial incentive to promote. If that sounds like information worth having, subscribe now. Every video is another method that will never appear in an advertisement, because there is no advertising budget for things you already own. Now, the product that made this method disappear. The oven cleaner market is worth approximately $500 million annually. One company dominates it. Reckitt Benckiser, the parent corporation behind Easy Off, reports $2.6 billion in annual revenue from its essential home division alone. Oven cleaners are a cornerstone of that revenue, and they are sold on one promise: speed. Here is the history no one talks about. Before the Second World War, most households cleaned ovens with alkaline substances: baking soda, washing soda, salt pastes. These methods were slow, but they worked and they were safe. After the war, consumer product companies saw an opportunity. They could sell proprietary chemical formulations that worked in 20 to 30 minutes instead of 12 to 24 hours. The marketing wrote itself. Faster meant better, but faster did not mean safer. The active degreasing agent in most commercial oven cleaners is sodium hydroxide. Lie. Easy Off contains it at roughly 1% concentration, delivered through a butane propelled aerosol. The label on that can includes the phrase, and I am reading this directly, "Product will burn eyes and skin." That is not my characterization. That is theirs. Now let me show you what that product does in the real world. The United Kingdom National Poisons Information Service published data covering 780 patients exposed to oven cleaner chemicals between 2009 and 2015. 95% of those who inhaled the product developed toxicity symptoms. 94% of those with skin contact experienced adverse effects. These are not fringe cases. These are the expected outcomes of normal use in poorly ventilated kitchens. It gets worse. A study of over 267,000 children treated in emergency rooms for cleaning product injuries found that alkali-based cleaners, the category that includes oven cleaners, carried the highest serious outcome rate, 20.9%. 1 in 5 children exposed to these products experienced a serious medical event, 1 in 5, and the product that prevents all of that risk, it costs 15 cents. It has been on the shelf the entire time. That is what you are buying. Now let us look at what you could be using instead, and the science behind why it works. What you are watching right now is the surface layer. Inside the vault, we go deeper. We have compiled methods like this one across every household category: cleaning, food preservation, health remedies, emergency preparedness, no fluff, no filler. Just tested methods with sourced evidence. The link is in the description if you want to explore it. But stay right here, because what comes next is the part most people get wrong. This is not folk wisdom. This has been tested. Let me walk you through the 3 mechanisms that make baking soda work on oven grease, and then I will show you the study that proved it. Mechanism 1, mild abrasion. Baking soda has a soft, crystalline structure. It is hard enough to physically dislodge baked-on residue, but soft enough that it will not scratch glass, enamel, or stainless steel. Think of it as fine grit sandpaper that dissolves in water. It scrubs without damaging. Mechanism 2, mild alkalinity. Baking soda dissolved in water produces a solution with a pH of 8.1. That is mildly alkaline. Over extended contact, 12 hours or more, that alkalinity begins to partially dissolve grease by breaking down fatty acid bonds. I want to be precise here. This is not saponification. Saponification, the complete chemical conversion of fat into soap, requires a pH of 13 to 14. That is sodium hydroxide territory. Lie. Baking soda does not reach that level. What it does is soften and partially dissolve grease over time. The key variable is dwell time, not chemical strength. Mechanism 3, oil absorption. The powder physically pulls grease into the paste matrix. As the paste sits and slowly dries, it absorbs oil the way clay absorbs moisture. When you wipe the paste away, the grease comes with it. Trapped inside the powder. 3 mechanisms working together over time. None of them involve chemicals that burn human tissue. Now the study, University of Sheffield, 2024. Researchers created a paste of baking soda and vinegar, applied it to baked-on grease surfaces, and left it for 18 hours. The result was 92% removal of baked-on grease. That matched the performance of commercial brand name products. One important chemistry note: most people mix baking soda and vinegar together into a single paste. The foaming reaction looks impressive. It feels like something powerful is happening. But here is what is actually occurring. Baking soda is a base, vinegar is an acid. When you combine them, they neutralize each other. The foam is carbon dioxide gas. It is a visual effect, not a cleaning effect. For maximum cleaning power, use them sequentially. Paste first. Let it dwell. Then wipe with vinegar second. The vinegar reacts with the remaining baking soda residue, lifting it off the surface. That sequence outperforms pre-mixing every time. So the science is clear. The price is clear. Which raises the obvious question: why is no one telling you this? Let us put them side by side. Cost per application. Baking soda paste, 15 to 30 cents. Commercial oven cleaner, $5 to $7. That is a 20 to 40 times markup. Safety profile. Baking soda. FD. A generally recognized as safe. No gloves required. No ventilation required. You could technically eat it. Commercial oven cleaner. Burns eyes and skin. Mandatory hazard warnings. Specific disposal requirements. Keep away from children. Do not inhale. Effectiveness. Baking soda. 92% grease removal at 18 hours. Commercial products. Comparable performance at 20 to 30 minutes. Shelf life. Baking soda stored dry lasts indefinitely. A pressurized aerosol can has limited chemical and structural stability. The only advantage commercial cleaners hold is speed. 20 minutes versus 12 to 24 hours. That is the entire sales pitch. And for that speed advantage, you accept chemical burns, inhalation toxicity, child poisoning risk, and a 40 times cost increase. This is not theoretical. Real communities use this method right now. In Japan, baking soda cleaning is known as juso cleaning. It is not an ancient folk tradition. It is a modern, systematic approach that Japanese household culture adopted more publicly and thoroughly than Western markets ever did. Professional green cleaning services in the United States and Europe use baking soda formulations for clients with chemical sensitivities. Off-grid communities rely on it because it stores indefinitely and works without pressurized packaging. This is not fringe. This is practical. If you are still watching, you are the reason this channel exists. Hit subscribe. Every video recovers another method that no corporation will ever spend $1 promoting. Not because these methods do not work, because they work too cheaply. Now, I have to be honest with you about what this method will not do. It is slow. 12 to 24 hours minimum. If you need a clean oven in 30 minutes for dinner guests arriving tonight, this is not your solution. That is a real limitation, and I will not pretend otherwise. If your oven has years of heavily neglected multi-layered carbonized buildup, you may need 2 or even 3 applications. A single pass may not cut through decades of accumulated deposits. The paste leaves a white residue. You will need to wipe thoroughly, possibly multiple times, to get a streak-free finish. This requires manual labor. You are spreading paste, waiting, and wiping. This is not spray and walk away. You can add 1 to 2 tablespoons of hydrogen peroxide to boost the paste. It helps, but it is an optional upgrade, not a requirement. Here is what matters about every single one of those limitations. None of them involve health risk. The worst-case scenario is extra time and a second application. Compare that to the worst-case scenario of the product currently under your sink. With that said, here is exactly how to do it. Step 1. Remove your oven racks and any loose debris. Set the racks aside. They get their own treatment. Step 2. In a bowl, mix 1/2 cup of baking soda with water. Add the water slowly. You are looking for the consistency of peanut butter. Thick enough to cling to vertical surfaces. Not runny, not chalky. If you want the boost, add 1 to 2 tablespoons of hydrogen peroxide at this stage. Step 3. Spread the paste evenly across all interior oven surfaces. Apply a thicker layer on areas with heavy grease deposits. Avoid heating elements. Avoid gas igniters. The paste will not damage them, but it creates residue that is difficult to clean from small components. Step 4. Close the oven and leave the paste for a minimum of 12 hours. Optimal dwell time is 18 to 24 hours. Overnight is the easiest approach. The longer the paste sits, the more effectively all 3 mechanisms work. Time is the active ingredient. Step 5. Open the oven and wipe all surfaces with a damp cloth. Most of the grease will come away with the paste. You will see brown or black residue on your cloth. That is the grease being removed from your oven. Step 6. For stubborn spots where paste remains or grease persists, spray or wipe white vinegar directly onto the residue. The vinegar reacts with remaining baking soda, producing a gentle foam that lifts the final layer. Wipe clean. Step 7. Do a final wipe with a clean, damp cloth to remove any remaining baking soda film. Your oven is clean, no toxic residue, no burn-off cycle needed, ready to use immediately. For your racks, fill your bathtub or a large basin with hot water. Add 1/2 cup of baking soda. Submerge the racks and let them soak for the same 12 to 24 hour window. Scrub with a brush or scouring pad. Rinse and replace, total cost, 15 to 30 cents. Let me put this whole thing in perspective. A powder classified safe enough to eat by the FDA, costing 15 cents per application. Achieving 92% baked-on grease removal in university testing. Requiring no gloves, no ventilation, no safety equipment, storing indefinitely in a dry cupboard. Posing 0 health risk to children, pets, or anyone else in your household. This was displaced by a product costing $5 to $7 per can, containing sodium hydroxide, propelled by butane, labeled with the warning that it will burn eyes and skin, sending over 267,000 children to emergency rooms, producing serious medical outcomes in 1 out of every 5 pediatric exposures. Not because the cheap method failed, but because it was not profitable enough to advertise. No company earns recurring revenue from a commodity powder you buy once a year for $2. No corporation can patent sodium bicarbonate. No marketing department will ever produce a commercial for something with a 15-cent price point. So the method sat on the shelf, invisible, while an industry worth $500 million sold you the alternative. One more thing. In any supply chain disruption, any emergency scenario, baking soda stores indefinitely and serves dozens of household functions: cleaning, deodorizing, fire suppression, first aid for minor burns, water purification support. A pressurized aerosol can of oven cleaner does exactly one thing, and it expires. This knowledge is not secret. It is unsponsored. Now you have it. Share this video with someone who is still spraying sodium hydroxide in a closed kitchen. They deserve to know. Next week, we are opening the vault on another method the industry would rather you never learned. Subscribe so you do not miss it.